let's deconstruct something around gratitude. Even if we grew up without religion, we grew up in a society where religion, I would say, dominates the belief structure. So most of us have taken on an idea of an obligatory morality, that society must function off of an obligatory morality which needs to be communicated from parent or teacher to child. Otherwise, we are supposedly without hope and subject to societal collapse. So we believe that morals are holding something together and making us good. This is rooted in a belief that humans are bad. It must be. We must believe that humans are not capable. That within the human experience there is not the capability of making a ultimately good choice, a choice from inherent goodness. There's a belief that that's not possible, therefore we must enforce goodness. In the Tao, it is said that when the Tao is lost, I believe it says goodness is gained or goodness is embraced. When goodness is lost, morality is embraced. When morality is lost, blind ritual is embraced. So what this means is we start with something that is even beyond our inherent goodness, something that is just effortlessly, completely sustainable with this reality. And we can see this with animals. We could maybe argue that there are some exceptions to this. There are some animals behaving badly, but ultimately, if it were only animals on the planet, there would be no suffering. There would be pain, and there would be sometimes conflicts and things, but momentary, and then they fall away. Humans sustain and keep alive and churn and really amplify, often for no good reason, this kind of chaos and what we could say badness, in contrast to our innate goodness, to the innate goodness of awareness experiencing the human. So part of the human apparatus is the capacity to take on beliefs, conceptual beliefs that are then going to reflect reality. Humans are the only ones who can think and then live into this idea that I am bad, I am not enough. We could say domesticated or semi-domesticated, poorly treated animals take on some kind of notion of badness, but they're taking this on from the experience of the human. If it was just animals, there would not be animals that felt bad or shame or some kind of situation like that. So within the human experience, the mind of humanness is a propensity to take on these ideas that to be good must be enforced by a collective. Within this, for example, the 10 Commandments, or the yoga's yamas and niyamas, which there are also 10. I believe there are ultimately more than 10, but typically taught in yoga, the main ones, there are 10. These are taught as moral observances, obligatory things that you need to do in order to realize your true nature or go to heaven or whatever the goal of that structure. There's totally this idea that I have to earn something by doing something. And then the whole life gets structured around this idea of doing something to earn something, to go somewhere in the end. This place that we might call heaven. Instead of this, when I realize my true nature in this experience, these 10 Commandments would then effortlessly be followed. And how do I realize my true nature? I realize that I am not any of these ideas packed around myself. So I excavate, I remove the human identity stuff. I experience my self-awareness having the experience of the human without any confusion of that. Within this is gratitude, the one that I'm talking about, but this applies really to all moral ideas. Ultimately, to follow them as moral, as obligatory, is a layer of separation from who you are. In the short term, we can use gratitude as a practice. When I realize my true nature, when I'm embodying that, living that, gratitude is natural. It just is. It's a part of me that is no longer obscured, no longer held back by mind's ideas that this isn't good enough, something else needs to happen. In the short term, in practicing gratitude, we do this knowing that we're using it to return to our true nature from which gratitude effortlessly flows. I don't practice gratitude to become a better human being. That's a misunderstanding. And I don't practice gratitude because I'm supposed to, or because of any outward effect it may have. Sometimes in abundance circles and doctrine, there's this idea that gratitude is going to get you good things out here. That may be true in this relative game. That's a relative teaching. That is not where my focus is. That is not what these are about. Gratitude bridges the gap, the supposed gap, the experienced gap of myself to myself. It sort of heals the breach. What I ultimately am is not impacted by this, does not require any specific outcome to happen in order to be happy to have this experience. How do I know this? Because when the mind is seen through, or when there is a break between thought, and I know for some, that's just not happening right now, and that's okay. So we completely accept that mind is here. We remove from our lives the requirement that mind needs to go away. That is to take this empowered, willing, happy seat of ourselves. So it's kind of a tricky, it seems like we shouldn't want the mind to keep going, and we don't want it. We remove wanting from the equation in our welcoming of the mind. It doesn't mean I want more mind. It means it's okay that mind is here in this moment. And completely accepting mind as it is. The charge of resistance comes out. A significant part of the feed of thoughts will be reduced or taken away because there is no longer, I don't like this. How do I get the mind to stop? How do I keep thinking about the mind and still get the mind to stop? All of that is removed when I say, I do not require that anything be different about the present moment. From this flows gratitude, naturally. It just surges. And what you see is that all thoughts of requirement, all thoughts that I need to do things a specific way, they need to go like this reflects on me, the person, the human. All these ideas have been perpetuating the thoughts that are then perpetuating the feelings in the body that say bad, not good. That then cycles more resistance. Stop trying to make it go. Stop trying to want anything to be different than it is. Cultivate. Let's say cultivate, but this is a misunderstanding. The idea that gratitude needs to... The idea that it's something like a muscle that needs to be developed is miscalibrated. Complete, beautiful, unhindered gratitude is already you. There's a filter. There's a kind of inhibitedness packed around gratitude. And what's that based on? A belief. It may be a little different in different cases, but basically, because of the experiences that have been had, because of mind keeping past alive in this present moment by recalling it, by bringing it back into my attention, otherwise it wouldn't exist at all anymore for me. By bringing it back into attention and saying, because of these past things, I now want things to go a specific way to avoid the feelings that are being remembered from that past experience. When I keep alive the past in this moment through my attention and say, I want now for the future, for this moment to be different in order for a future that looks different from the past, I'm buying into the human as myself. The mind is ultimately the one saying that. My attention placed on it generates then a feeling that just reinforces this reality more. It is as simple as letting go of what appears to be in the way of effortlessly flowing gratitude, joy, and love. There is the illusion. And it is a valid illusion. If there is that illusion, if there is the belief that I have to do work over time to make a change, to experience my true nature, then I will. It will at some point probably require the releasing of that belief through exhaustive efforts in order to finally let go. So that's what this is. And it's kind of nice that in general, humans live for the span that they do so that this can tire itself out over many experiences. But ultimately, in this moment, your choice is to say, I release all requirements on this life experience. I am completely grateful in this moment for reality as it is, in all that it is. Everything that's going on. I know that feels like a really big ask right now. But this is your choice always. Circumstances do not impact this. Your choice is to say, in this moment, no requirements are on my happiness. I'm just choosing to let the happiness already here loose on the world. I'm just doing that. Gratitude is not a moral act because you are not a moral being. You are divine, beyond morality. To release all limitation on that. This gratitude which flows from you will just effortlessly do that.